In the merciless heart of the Sahara, beneath an unforgiving sun and winds that hiss between the dunes, lies the tale of a lost city, Zerzura, a mythical oasis said to gleam as white as a dove in the midst of the desert, has fired the imagination of travelers and adventurers for centuries. Legends whisper of locked gates and unearthly treasures, of spellbound kings and queens, and of mysterious birds guarding the entrance. The mood feels like a fairy tale, yet the tone is that of an epic documentary. We shall weave historical reality with local myth to recreate the grandeur, the mysteries, and the meaning of this vanished civilization. In the mind's eye, caravans still cross the blistering sand beneath a fiery sky. A weary traveler lifts his gaze and spots on the horizon the wavering outline of palms. Mirage or true oasis? Triumphant music swells, heightening wonder and anticipation. This is the dawn of our journey through time. Prepare to step into a forgotten world where fact and fable fuse, and every grain of sand hides a story. Welcome to Zerzura, the city of little birds, deep in the Sahara. A realm of great achievements and undying enigmas. The legend of Zerzura stretches across millennia, braiding possible historical facts with regional folklore. Though no archaeological proof has ever confirmed its existence, enigmatic references surface in old chronicles. The earliest known mention appears to come from a provincial administrator in the 13th century, who spoke of Zerzura as a settlement already abandoned in his day. Later, in the 15th century, a mysterious Arabic manuscript titled Kitab al-Kanuz, the Book of Treasures, also called the Book of Hidden Pearls, located the oasis in a concealed wadi, hinting at unimaginable riches and offering instructions to anyone bold or mad enough to seize them. Even the Greek historian Herodotus, writing around 450 before the Common Era, describes a white city full of treasures lost in the desert west of the Nile. These attestations raise questions about the city's origins. Who might have founded Zerzura, and when? Some historians suggest its roots could be far older, anchored in a time when the Sahara was not barren sand, but a savanna dotted with lakes and vegetation. Evidence shows that about 5,000 to 6,000 years ago, the Gilf Kabir region of southwestern Egypt, close to one proposed site of Zerzura, was inhabited by pastoral communities until rapid desertification after 4,000 before the Common Era turned the land to waste. Lacking hard data, the foundation legend has been shaped by folklore. Local tales speak of a king and queen who ruled Zerzura in ancient days, guiding a prosperous people cut off from the world by seas of sand. Society, by the crumbs of legend, was hierarchical and secretive. The myth of sleeping monarchs implies a monarchical leadership. Perhaps the city's legendary founders, later idealized as mythical figures. An intriguing detail is the cultural and ethnic identity of Zerzura's inhabitants. Legends portray them as different from nearby Arab or Berber tribes. Fair-skinned, blue-eyed people who wore no Islamic garments and had no mosques in their citadel. This odd picture has led some scholars to wonder if the founders were foreigners, possibly European crusaders lost in the desert after the fall of the Kingdom of Jerusalem in 1291. Others think they could have been pre-Islamic North African tribes, or members of a hidden sect seeking refuge far from civilization. The mystery only deepens the aura of legend. Throughout the Middle Ages, stories of Zerzura threaded their way among merchant caravans and desert Bedouin. Arabic sources speak of a hidden oasis rich with treasure, and the name Zerzura became a mysterious refrain on the lips of those living at the desert's edge. A manuscript dated 1447, attributed to a Syrian emir named Osman al-Nabulsi, lists several deserted settlements in western Egypt, among them a place called Zerzura, described as already in ruins in the 15th century. If the city was real, its golden age must have passed long before, perhaps in late antiquity or the early medieval period, before desert and history swallowed it. Yet even in ruin, legend says Zerzura was no mere village. The image handed down is of a grand oasis city with gleaming white walls hidden in an untouchable land. Local lore around the Dakhla oasis drew a sharp line between Zerzura and other places. In the late 19th century, elders spoke of the Black Oasis, possibly a refuge for sub-Saharan communities, separately from Zerzura, which in their imagination was a great oasis with many trees, springs, grass, and ruins, where even wild cattle graze nearby. Zerzura was thus viewed as something extraordinary, a hidden Eden, blessed with water and vegetation in unusual abundance, a place of plenty and marvel amid the sterility that surrounds it. Beyond fragmentary history, Zerzura's story swells with fantastical legends passed down by word of mouth or esoteric texts. One of the best-known tales is that of Hamid Kayla, a Bedouin who supposedly discovered Zerzura in the year 1481. His story, preserved in the Chronicles of Benghazi, begins with disaster. Hamid traveled west of the Nile with a caravan when a savage sandstorm buried his companions. He survived by sheltering beneath the body of a dead camel. Lost and near death, he was rescued by strangers of unusual appearance. Fair-skinned, blue-eyed people, unlike the olive-skinned Arabs of the desert. These mysterious guides led Hamid through desolate valleys until an ancient gate, crowned by a carved bird, rose before them. Passing through, the Bedouin could not believe his eyes. There stretched a radiant city of white buildings, lush greenery, and clear waters, a paradise impossible amid the dunes. Benghazi heightened the myth. The city had no mosques, and its people wore none of the usual Islamic garments. It seemed an enclave of another era or faith. Giant warriors guarded the oasis, and its rulers, a king and queen, lay in an enchanted sleep. The city's sentinels were not entirely human. Legend says they were hybrid beings, half man and half bird, or perhaps jinn in the guise of great birds set to drive off intruders. The very name Zerzura means bird, more exactly starling in Arabic, earning it the folk title Oasis of the Little Birds. The label deepens the fairy tale quality, a place where birdsong brings life to the wasteland, and perhaps a secret code masking the city's true identity. Hamid's tale holds a moral coda. Asked why he left the idyllic oasis instead of staying forever, he confessed it was his own choice. Rumor claims he stole a ruby ring from the slumbering royal couple and took it as proof to the emir. The emir, intrigued yet angered by theft, punished him and sent expeditions to find the marvelous oasis. None succeeded. Zerzura vanished as mysteriously as it had appeared, like a mirage, leaving only sand and silence. Legend adds that the stolen ring later adorned the finger of King Idris of Libya, showing how Zerzura's echo reached even the real world of monarchs. Another literary treasure that fuels the myth is the fragment from Kitab al-Kanuz, the Book of Treasures, mentioned earlier. Although the original manuscript has been lost, a Cairo newspaper, the Egyptian Gazette, printed passages attributed to this medieval work in 1904, including directions to Zerzura. Rendered in modern language, they read like a page from 1001 Nights. Somewhere west of the city of Suri, you will see palms, grapevines, and springs. Enter that valley and follow the road that winds between two hills. It will lead you to the city of Zerzura. You will find the city gate closed. It is a city as white as a dove. Beside the gate, you will find a sculpted bird. Reach toward its beak, and you will discover a key. Unlock the gate and enter the city. There you will find great riches and the king and queen in their palace, sleeping an enchanted sleep. Do not approach them. Take the treasure and depart. This tale perfectly captures the legendary aura. Zerzura is a realm of hidden abundance, veiled by magic, where the curious may enter only if they know the secret key, both literally and figuratively, and where an alluring danger reigns. Should greed tempt one to disturb the royal sleepers, who knows what curse might be unleashed? Local legends are equally rich in colorful detail. Some desert elders told 20th century European explorers that they had met people said to come from Zerzura, or had even seen with their own eyes the giants of whom stories were told. Yet the accounts conflict. While the Book of Treasures paints a flourishing, luxuriant metropolis, many local tales describe Zerzura as a frozen, abandoned oasis. Perhaps herein lies the myth's power, its ambiguity. Zerzura can be both a lost paradise and a cursed city, a fabulous hoard for the worthy and a mortal trap for the unwary. Dubbed an Arabian Camelot, Zerzura lives in the collective imagination, at the boundary between reality and the supernatural, forever hidden from sight, yet never forgotten. If we look beyond the myth, scattered clues let us outline the remarkable socioeconomic feats Zerzura may have enjoyed in its prime, assuming it truly existed. First, the very word oasis means the site possessed fresh water in an otherwise lifeless desert. Mastering and managing that water was surely its greatest technological triumph. Perhaps deep wells carved into bedrock, underground springs tapped by stone channels, or small lakes fed by a hidden aquifer. Accounts speak of flowing springs and valleys of vines and palms, suggesting a fertile microclimate engineered by its people. In the heart of the Sahara, such abundance would be a marvel of traditional hydraulics, comparable to the luxuriant gardens of other oasis cities, like the Garamantian settlements in Fezan, which built an underground canal network centuries earlier. Although Zerzura's architecture has vanished into legend, epithets such as "city white as a dove" conjure walls of lime-washed brick or light-colored stone that blazed beneath the sun. Tales of guarded gates and colossal sentries hint that Zerzura was planned as a defensive enclave, built to keep nomad raiders and caravan thieves at bay. 19th century travelers even claim to see strange ruins among palms, keeping alive the picture of infrastructure, impressive even in abandonment. Economically, Zerzura occupied a strategic waypoint on trans-Saharan caravan routes. Whether it lay in western Egypt or eastern Libya, the oasis could serve as a staging post for caravans moving between the Nile Valley and the small towns of Fezan or Sudan. Imagine a lively bazaar where traders from many lands displayed exotic merchandise beneath dove coats and palm canopies. Gold from West Africa, salt from Saharan mines, spices and silks from the Orient. Tolls and taxes on that commerce would have filled Zerzura's coffers. In return, the Oasis offered essentials: water, dates, grain, and perhaps sacrificial animals, produced locally in soils made fertile by its springs. Reports of wild cattle grazing nearby imply a richer habitat than the surrounding desert and hint at pastoralism or even small-scale oasis farming. Culturally, Zerzura might have been a crucible if it sheltered an unusual mix: wandering European crusaders, isolated pre-Islamic tribes, or a secretive religious sect. Daily life would have differed sharply from neighboring Muslim oases. There may have been hidden rituals by artesian fountains, sunset ceremonies thanking a desert deity, or dances marking survival in a hostile land. Crafts would have flourished: jewelry fashioned from local gold and gems, fine textiles arriving on camel caravans. Stories of legendary treasure and ruby rings show Zerzura as both cultural trove and material storehouse. Though many of these achievements are inferred from folklore and historical analogy, they give the legend substance. Zerzura does not emerge as a flimsy mirage, but as a prosperous civilization that, for a time, learned how to tame the desert. Seen this way, the story gains weight. It reminds us of human ingenuity, adaptation to extreme environments, and the cultural diversity that might have thrived far from the great empires. Zerzura becomes a symbol of possibility, the idea that beyond the scorching horizon, people might once have built a city of hope in the middle of nowhere. Like every civilization, Zerzura has a dark final chapter: decline and vanishing. What ended such a paradise? With no firm archaeology, theories multiply. Some grounded in history, others wrapped in mysticism. The most credible scientific view is that nature reclaimed Zerzura. Entire oases die when springs dry or rain belts shift. Over millennia, the Sahara has grown ever drier, and even well-known oases have endured devastating drought. Zerzura may have flourished in a wetter epoch, only for relentless aridity to sap its heart. Gardens withered, wells cracked, and people were forced to move or die. Wind draped the thirsty ruins with sand, hiding the city forever. 1930s explorers found, instead of treasure, 7,000-year-old rock paintings that prove the Sahara was once green, indirect support for the desertification theory. Changing climate is thus the silent assassin of many forgotten settlements. Human hands may also have hastened Zerzura's end. In desperate times, a wealthy oasis is an irresistible target. Oral lore from Dakhla speaks of a Mamluk commander in the 18th or 19th century who poisoned the only spring used by raiding bands from the south before they could reach the oasis. That same act, real or embellished, could have touched Zerzura, either as a refuge for the tribe or collateral damage in the commander's reprisal. North African history offers many deliberate devastations: tainted wells, felled palms, torching of villages. Fighting between tribes, authorities, and desert pirates may have wrecked Zerzura, leaving only shadows in survivors' memories. Cities can also fade quietly. Trade declines, resources dwindle, and residents drift to safer oases. caravan routes may shift away, and without economic purpose, the town empties out. By the 15th century, written sources already label Zerzura abandoned. The last families may have merged with other Oasis communities, carrying tales of their vanished citadel. Thus, the memories spread through regional folklore, while the physical place dissolved. No legend escapes mystical readings. Some tales say the city was not destroyed, but hidden by magic. The desert, jealous of Zerzura's bounty, swallowed it beneath dunes in a single storm to shield it from unworthy eyes. Or the sleeping king and queen cast a spell so the city would slumber with them until someone worthy arrives to wake them. Such motifs, sunken cities, enchanted palaces, treasure guarded by spirits, abound worldwide, giving Zerzura an eternal aura. Not truly lost, merely withdrawn into an inaccessible realm, awaiting return. Regardless of cause, one fact stands. Zerzura slipped from geography into legend. 20th century explorers, armed with old maps and Bedouin tales, finally admitted that such a place is doubtful. William John Harding King, after arduous searches in 1909 and 1911, concluded Zerzura might always have been myth or collective confusion. The famed explorer Ralph Bagnold, who founded the Zerzura Club, suggested that the name may be just one among many attached to fabulous cities dreamt up by travelers, and that fixing Zerzura on one real spot narrows a broader idea. In other words, Zerzura is more symbol than singular location. The legend of Zerzura continues to fascinate, illustrating the endurance of a well-shaped myth even without concrete proof. Beyond shifting dunes and patchy maps, Zerzura lives in our collective imagination. For Bedouins, it remains a fireside tale, a token of divine refuge in an immense desert. For explorers of the 20th century, it was the last romantic frontier, uniting British officers and Egyptian adventurers in the Zerzura Club of 1930, sworn to unlock the secret of the Oasis of Little Birds. Though they never found a fairy tale citadel, they did uncover the rock paintings of Gilf Kebir, priceless evidence of Africa's prehistory. The search for Zerzura enriched science, showing that the road to myth can yield real insights into humanity's past. Today, Zerzura endures as a symbol of mystery and adventure. It reminds us that undiscovered corners and untold stories still dot our world. Perhaps Zerzura once existed, a flourishing desert kingdom lost to time. Or perhaps it was always a mirage, a projection of humanity's longing for a hidden paradise. Either way, its impact is profound. Whenever we hear of lost cities like Atlantis, El Dorado, or Zerzura, a spark of curiosity and wonder lights within us. Zerzura, its name whispered by Saharan winds, calls us to peer beyond what we know and explore the unknown. Our journey ends, yet imagination marches on. We still picture a blazing sunset over the dunes, the white silhouette of a miraculous city lingering for a heartbeat before melting into twilight. Zerzura has carried us on an epic expedition through time and legend. We bid farewell to this phantom oasis with hearts full of awe. Who can say? Perhaps one day, the shifting sands of the Sahara will reveal its hidden secret. Until then, Zerzura remains a summons, an echo from the past urging modern explorers and dreamers everywhere to answer their own call to adventure.